Good morning everyone, Mike here, 4th generation renovation. Something big going on today, sanding the floors. Lily, good go. So I've got the drum sander, I've got the little edge sander, got all this sandpaper, got my tripod and my light, because it's dark in here. I'm doing the dining room floor here. I'm doing the whole hallway. That is going to make a big difference to the house. Guys, I'm all hooked up, ready to go. I've got the edge sander here. It's pretty easy to use. It's got some wheels on it, and you just sort of push down a little bit on the front, or really just let the weight of it push down and run around the edges until you. And I like to come out not just the width, but come out a little bit more, just to make sure that when I'm going over with the drum sander, I don't have a little bit that I can't quite get to. Alright, so get my good mask on. So I use this one at work for spraying, keep all the spray out of my face, so I thought it'll be perfect for doing the floors. So get that on, get my headphones on, and I do this at work. I put my headphones on, I listen to YouTube or some music, and yeah, work all day like that, just keep me amused seeing as I work by myself. So this machine, it does a good job, but I tell you what, you gotta go with the coarsest paper you can to start with, and then you got to grade it back, because it is pretty hard work. On I'm doing it there standing up, and I'm doing it kneeling down. I'm just changing my position all the time because it's sort of a heavy machine. I mean, obviously it's supporting its own weight, but it's spinning around, so you got to control it. And especially along here where I'm doing along the tiles, you got to really control the line along there so that you don't go onto the tiles. So I don't think there's nothing about sanding a floor that's easy. I mean, the professionals that do it, hats off to you, because it's pretty hard yakka. So onto the belt sander now, and this belt sander I've used many times before, and I used it probably the exact same machine in the bedroom. I ended up with little like low spots where the belt, like a rounded indent in the floor where you stop and start. So, and I was being really careful then too, so I was extra careful this time, but I'm dealing with hardwood, so it was a different story. These hardwood floors, you got to sit there, you'd have to sit there with all the pressure on the front of the sander to put a big hollow in this hardwood, so that alone made it a bit easier. But what I did, now this is just my method, I sanded it and then I went and vacuumed up the dust, one to get rid of the dust, but so I could see what the floor looked like, because you end up with dust everywhere. I mean, they give you a paper bag. Funny story, the paper bag that I thought, I only need one paper bag, being a real tight ass. And Lily got overexcited and bit it and put a hole in it. So I taped it up and I taped it up, and it's like, oh, a bit dust cut. That's why we got so much dust in the house, because the dust bag was actually split and it was spraying dust everywhere. But the idea with this sander is just keep changing up the angles, and don't go up and back to the exact same spot. Change it up and go a bit longer, a bit shorter, go diagonal, go all over the place, and you won't get any low spots. Alright, so it's now I think about 8 o'clock, and I've finished sanding the floors with the first 2 grits. So I'm going to go over it now with the putty, and that'll dry overnight, and then in the morning I can sand that and go down another 2 grades, and then it'll be ready for sealing. Alright guys, so it's the next day. It was about 10 hours worth of work that I did sanding and puttying the floors yesterday, and I was knackered after it. but I've got it puttied, so I'm going to change the belt on the drum sander, and I'm going to go over it again, and then I've got to take the machines back, and then I can start orbing it all to get it ready for stain. So I'll show you where we're up to. So you can see there's putty all over the floor. So I screwed that on last night. Finished at about 10 o'clock. So yeah, all ready to sand. All the way down here. Few wet spots still, so I've just got the fan to try and finish drying that off. So I'll put the camera down, and sorry it's a bit dark, it's very early, it's not very early, but it's 6 o'clock in the morning, and Julie's still in bed, so I'm being a little bit quiet. So I'll put the camera down, I'll put the fan on, and start getting organised. Won't start sanding till Julie's up, but she's got to go to work soon, so she'll be up in about 15 minutes. Then I can start sanding. So here we go again, guys. Back on the sander and sanding the putty this time. So this was actually harder than sanding the hardwood, would you believe? I think because you could see levels and you had to keep sanding it until you took all the putty out. I didn't realise how hard this putty was when I tried it all on there. So lesson learnt for the next time, go on a bit lighter and just get it in the gaps and scrape out as much as I can. So yeah, I just went over, and the dust cloud was pretty bad. I did end up taking off my mask because I just couldn't wear it any longer. It was just hot. I couldn't breathe, and the dust from the putty was way better than the dust from the timber. So yeah, just went over the whole lot again with that. Alright guys, well I haven't been in touch too much, but basically I've cleaned the floor after the belt sander, and then I've gone and gotten the Orbi, and I've Orbied, and that was twice as dirty as the belt sander. I thought it wouldn't be too bad, but not to mention it's as heavy as hell. I worked about 12 hours yesterday, I think it was, and I've been going flat out all day today since, well, I got up at 6 to get into this. So it's all been Orbied, it's nice and smooth, really nice. It's obviously, I've sanded all the putty. There's a few little bits of putty that you can see around. That's just in low spots that I didn't want to go crazy and take this down too much. I've only got 8mm, and I wanted to leave enough there that I can safely sand it and polish it another couple of times. So now that that's done, I'm going to stain it tonight. This is what I was thinking. Go over the whole floor and stain it, because it'll dry and we'll be able to walk on it. And then tomorrow morning, seal it, and then in the middle of the day, it should be dry enough to sand and give the first top coat. And then I'll probably give it 1 or 2 more. I'll get it really thick on there. Make sure that, you know, it's not going to scratch through to the raw timber underneath. So, although I'm ready to pack it in, I'm not going to. I'm going to keep pushing on. So I've got my cooler clothes on now, I've got my slides on. Alright, so staining time. So this was the start of the exciting stuff. So getting the stain on there really made it come alive. And yeah, just for the colours, I actually messed up and I grabbed this walnut stain instead of the teak stain for this, but in the end I thought that's not a bad thing because the entry can be a slightly different colour. So what I did though is I mixed up a mixture that was about 1 to 10 ratio mix, so it was 1 part stain to 10 parts thinners, and it would have been way too intense. It would have been dark brown. Same with the teak, it would have been bright orange and hardly see through it. So it was the exact same mix with the teak. It was a 1 part teak to 10 parts thinners. So I like to do this with a big brush. So you really wet the brush and you spread it all around in circles so that it goes right down into the cracks, because if you miss the cracks you end up with white lines and that wouldn't look any good. So yeah, really wet brush, a nice big one. I think I've got a 3-inch brush or a 4-inch brush there, and yeah, just get it on wet and then wipe it off straight away. And when you wipe it off, you got to wipe it past where you put it on, and then when you're going over up to where you've already done, you double back over the bit you've already done so that it all blends in nicely, because you can end up with a harsh line where you've done it each time, but I didn't get that because if you watch me here, you can see where I've done, and then I've rubbed it over the dried bit to blend it all in. So that's a good little technique, just so you don't end up with patches. I mean, doing a floor, you can't do it in one hit. I mean, if you put it all on and then you came, for one, you'd have to walk over the wet stuff. And I don't know how to do this. This is just how I worked out to do it. And I can't see how the professionals would do it any other way, but they've probably got their secrets. So yeah, look at that edging, isn't that beautiful? That edging really came up beautiful. So just finishing off the hallway now. So I started at the entry and I worked my way down. So there we go, it's all stained. So it's all wet at the moment. I mean, I'm walking on it, but it's not wet on top, it's wet still down in all the cracks and everything. So it did lighten up overnight once this all dried. Hello again guys. Well, it's the 3rd day now and I'm going to get some sealer on. So 2 massive days. It was New Year's Eve yesterday, and at 8 o'clock I had to go to bed because I was too knackered. So I had a couple hours sleep and got up and we watched some TV, and then I still missed midnight. So oh well, we're getting to that age where we're never going to see it in. So I'll show you the floors. The stain's dried and it's all ready to go. I'm going to go around, I'm going to vacuum and shuttle the windows and seal up any gaps where wind can blow dust in, and that'll help to get a smooth finish. But overall, really happy with the floor, and it's going to look so awesome when the lacquer goes on. So have a look at this. It actually looks like a woven basket. It's doing mind tricks to me. So that's pretty cool. I got the herringbone down here, and I did realise in this entry I actually started using the wrong colour stain. So this is slightly darker, but it's not much darker. It's just a little bit redder. But yeah, really happy with all of this. So next up, just before I give it the sealer coat, I thought I've got to get some of this dust up. So where the dust sits on the horizontal sort of textures, I vacuumed all that off. I mean, it's not going to come off of the wall where it's stuck there. So Julie got in and helped. She vacuumed the floor, and I went around and vacuumed up the accumulation of dust that sat on all the ledges, and we got it ready for doing the sealer. So I mean, with the sealer, it's not real critical. One of the main things that we did do was we sealed up underneath all the bedroom doors, and obviously the front door where you can see that spot and putting the LED light panel and the crack underneath. It sealed everything up so that no dust could blow in from anywhere. So it's only the wind that's going to blow in and blow all that dust off of the walls and everything. So yeah, we just did that. Alright, so now for the fun bit of getting the sealer on. So I've got a microfiber cloth, very important. Make sure it's not a foam roller, that'll leave air bubbles in the finish. So a microfiber roller, got 3 of those for the 3 coats, and I bought a new roller frame just so that it doesn't glide along at any stage, it will roll nicely. And I've got my painting pole, because I'm not bending down and doing it. And I bought some disposable trays. One disposable tray, but that's alright. I can just, when that's dry, I can use the next batch on top. So I've mixed up the polyurethane. It's a 1-to-1 mix for the floor, which makes it super hard. So, and it's in a full gloss. So I've got 2 of these pots. The reason I've got 2 is because I started mixing at 1-to-2, and now I realised, damn, I haven't got room for the hardener now, and I'd already started putting it in. So I've got 2 pots, so it's 1-to-1. So I'm going to put that in there and go down and start in the entry. Then I'll do the dining room, and then I'll come all the way down the hallway. So, and then we'll go out for a few hours, take Lily for a run on the beach. By the time I come back, it should be ready to sand and do the next coat. See how we go. Hopefully that's how it works. Alright guys, here we go, the exciting stuff. So getting the lacquer on here is got to be hands down the most exciting part of it, because you bring up all the colours and you see all the hard work that you've done has all paid off. So I'm using a microfiber roller there, so no fibres come off and leave with extra nibs that you don't want. So with the sealer coat, you don't need to put on a heavy coat. It doesn't need to be sort of thrown on and puddles splashed around. All you're really looking to do is just coat it, because all the fibres are going to stick up, and whether you put it on thick or thin, they're all going to stand up and it's going to need sanding. So really the way to go is to get this first sealer coat on nice and thin. So I'm just rolling it on, whereas on the future coats I actually poured it on there with a bucket and just spread it around with the roller. So I'm just putting it on thin just to save on the lacquer, and I guess it's really all it's doing is saving on the amount of lacquer that you're going to use. Make it dry a bit quicker so we could get in and do the next coat. But look at that basket weave pattern. It's just so satisfying seeing this all come to life. And I challenge anyone that is doing a floor themselves to not get excited by this step. My glasses so I can clean them. They've got dust all over them like everything else. So I thought I'd better put my glasses on so I can see the floor. I am pretty blind these days. So there we go, now I can see what I'm doing. Julie, the quality control. Hey, you missed a spot. So if there's a spot that's got a few little gaps, I just work the lacquer into that. And sometimes it's, there's still highs and lows. And see, look, Julie's got her phone out taking photos. It gets better than this, but when you see this first step, God, when we got the full gloss on it with the second coat, and then when I did the third coat, I thought, oh, I hope I can get it as good, and I did, but I was a bit worried. But look at that edging, everything is just looking great. Coming down the hallway, and this herringbone pattern really popped. There's a few bits of putty in the middle there, but as I said, I did a test a few months back to make sure that the putty takes the stain the same as the timber. So where it had some low spots where it might have been some thin boards or something or other, and there's nail holes and that. So I did the test. The stain and the lacquer it just all blended in nicely. So having said that, there is a couple of spots where I couldn't get the putty off because the putty is so damn hard, and I was pretty spent when I was doing all that sanding. So I am a little bit disappointed on a couple of spots where I just needed to spend longer sanding, and I just couldn't. I worked my butt off doing these floors, and unfortunately this time of year Julie has to work every day because it's the busy retail season, I guess. Christmas, Boxing Day sales. I did this between Christmas and New Year's, so this was my holiday doing this, so I enjoyed my holiday. I don't need to go away anywhere fantastic, just get some good progress done on the house. So it is really nice having these floors done. You know, we can walk around now without getting all grit on our feet. It feels smooth and nice to walk on. There's no creaking and carrying on, and boards that stick up higher than others and all that. It's all nice and flat and feels nice. So yeah, we're living like kings and queens at the moment, it feels like. So yeah, look at this with the look at this herringbone bit in this part here pop. So you don't realise how reflective timber is. You know, when you turn it end for end, it can go from being black to white, and some timbers are really bad at it, some of them don't make much difference, but oak is one of them that if you spin it around it will look completely different. That's why it's got light and dark across there. Well guys, sealer coat is done, and you wouldn't believe it, I mixed up the two pots and I tipped them into the tray, and there's nothing left in the tray, and I finished it all. That's just a fluke. I'll show you. Empty tray, just with a dribble in it, and two empty pots. So this is how it looks after the sealer. Look at that.
What's that on the floor?
Go get it.
What's that?
I can't see what you're talking about.
There.
Is that attached?
I don't know, I don't want to touch it, it's wet.
Well, hold that. Where?
There.
That?
Yeah.
Putty.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
Putty that hasn't got quite as much lacquer over it, so it's still light. Dilemma over. Yeah, so we'll let that dry, come back, scuff it back, and give it another coat this afternoon hopefully, and then I'll be looking at trying to give it 2 coats tomorrow. I think 3 top coats will be the sweet spot, but we'll see. We won't know till it's done. But I'm not going to skimp out, got plenty of lacquer, and I want this to be nice and smooth to walk on. So until then, I'll see you again shortly. So the seal is dried, and it's time to be Edward sandpaper hands and start scuffing it down. So I just go through the whole, well, not the whole house, the whole, all the floors that I've sealed with these pads, and then we can come back, we can give a little bit of a light mop, let that dry, and then we'll be top coating. So let's get into it. Alright, so the exciting job of sanding all the nibs. There's better ways to do it, I will admit, but I had the sanding pads and I had the arms to do it, so I just got in and did that. Hey guys, just briefly, if you're enjoying watching this video, can you hit the like, and don't forget to give me a comment too and let me know what you think of the floors. Thanks guys. So yeah, sanding all this, as I did actually end up with blisters on my knees. I was scooting around pretty fast. I mean, this was, I wanted to go to bed. I was absolutely spent after all the 2 hard days of doing this. But you know, you got to denib it. You got to denib it well, so otherwise they're just you're gonna feel it through the next layer. So yeah, I gave it a really good scrub and I was well and truly ready to lay down after this. But yeah, important part of the process, and it you know, yeah, it happened pretty quickly. Bit of a rest, carry on. I only need my 5-second rest and then I'm ready to go again. So yep, got it all sanded, and we gave it a second coat, which is I'm calling the first top coat. Alright, we're on the home run, guys. This is day 4 and I've just got the job now of running around with Scotch-Brite to denib, and I'll give it another coat. It's I think it's about 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to get a coat down, and then when Julie gets home tonight, it'll be dry. We can open up all the doors and windows, let all the fumes out, because last night we were sort of confined to the bedroom. So that'll be good. And the floors are looking amazing. Really happy, couldn't be happier really. Yeah, so I've just got to get in and do this. It's down on my hands and knees unfortunately, so it's a bit more like taxing work on my back, but I'll get that done. Won't take long to recoat, and then I'll go for a drive, go and see my mate, take the Caprice out for a drive, and yeah, come back tonight. Alright guys, well I've given it its second coat and that's dried, and this time I opted for the orbital sander and Scotch-Brite. It's the red Scotch-Brite, which is the finest, and I just whizzed over with the sander and just denibbed that. There weren't as many as the first time. So the Scotch-Brite, it really was just yeah, some fine dust that probably settled in the lacquer. And the reason I used the sandpaper on the first time I sanded it was because I didn't want to blow dust everywhere with the Orbi. But after doing that once, you know, the novelty wore off, and it was like, no, I'm going to use a sander this time. So I got the sander, and Scotch-Brite sticks to the Velcro, so you just cut a bit and you throw it on there and it won't come off. So yeah, Scotch-Brite'd all the floors, and you can see, I mean, I've sped this up, but it actually got done relatively quickly. There's the machine that I hired to orbital sand the whole floor, that has got a Velcro attachment on it. Yeah, so that would have been a hell of a lot quicker, but I couldn't, it would have cost me a lot more to keep it and hire it for another day. So yeah, now we're in the parlour and sanding over the pattern there, and you can just see everything's looking flatter and nicer. I'm not sure, I'm sure I'll get comments from you guys about the gloss level. I like the full gloss, but let me know guys. I mean, I've copied a floor that I saw in a Victorian mansion that our Restoration Nation toured, and that had the same sort of gloss, and that was a Ridgy-Didge Victorian mansion. So yeah, but let me know if it's too glossy, or you know what you think, or if it's okay to be glossy. I like the gloss, and you know, it's relatively easy to clean, so that's all good. Now I did give it the third coat, and I haven't filmed me over and over coating this, but yeah, we've got the next coat that went on, and then I'll show you the finished product. Alright guys, the reveal. Have a look at that. Lily's always got to be in the shot. God. Come on, out of the way, dog. Yeah, have a look. Look at the way that pattern around the edge, and look at the way the basket weave has popped. You know, everything is just looking beautiful. Now those spots of putties that you just saw, they don't actually show up in real life. It's the camera sort of doing its funny things and making it pop. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you think, if you know, we've done anything wrong, or we could have done anything better. And I've got another video coming up very soon. It's the wainscoting in the dining room, So thanks very much guys, really appreciate all the support. Cheers.